Hi everyone and welcome to UCTV Alive for Kids. I'm Tess. UCTV is a monthly webinar that the Peter Underwood Centre runs. Today we've got a really exciting episode about mindfulness for May because it's still May. We've got a couple of my colleagues from Children's University watching, which is always fun. And it's a little bit nerve-wracking to have people that you know from work watching. We've also got St Anthony's Riverside watching. They said that they've got their 5-6 class watching. The other class had to jump off, but that's all good. We've got a pretty big group from St Anthony's. I think about 50 students. Now, our guest today, his name is Baxter Adams. And the reason we've got so many people watching from Children's Universities, he's been doing some stuff with Children's Uni recently, and he's just a legend. He has made 2 videos for us to play today with some really hands-on activities that helps you learn what mindfulness is and practice it in a really easy way. So I want to leave as much time as possible in today's webinar for you to be able to watch those videos. So I'm going to just get through this stuff at the start pretty quickly. Your camera's been disabled, your mic's been disabled. St Anthony's, we're not going to do a Q&A break like we normally do because we've got a lot of the videos to get through, which I think your students are you're really gonna like watching. But so if you're thinking of questions as Baxter's talking or the video's playing, just send them through. Don't wait until the end for us to have a Q&A break. We're not going to do it today. Children's Uni team as well. We've got Georgia, we've got Sachi, we've got Belinda. If you want to jump on as well and ask Baxter questions, I'm sure he'd be happy to answer them. I'd also really love to welcome to Acknowledge Country, especially with an episode about mindfulness, which is really about just stopping and recognizing where you are and taking in the smells and the sounds and everything around you. It's important in the same way when you're acknowledging country and understanding the country that you're on and appreciating traditional connection to this area, that wherever you're zooming in from. So yes, I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. But I think I'll welcome onto the screen now Baxter. And he can introduce himself and he can let us know exactly what mindfulness is.
Hey, Tess, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay. How are you?
I'm very good. Thanks for having me on. It's really exciting.
No worries. Just quickly before we play these amazing videos that you've put together, what is mindfulness and who are you?
We always start off with who am I, because that's easy. So I'm Baxter. I'm a clinical psychologist that works at the University of Tasmania as the deputy clinic director. So we run a service out of the university for people to access for psychological services and therapy and assessment. But I also lecture here and teach early career psychologists all about the trade. So yeah, I'm also up on the Northwest Coast. I'm an avid hobby farmer. I love animals. Got a bunch of animals around, and you might be able to hear a couple of them if you listen very closely on the videos. And yeah, here to talk about mindfulness today. And when I thought you kind of sent me a message about, in a sentence, which I think is really hard for us psychologists because we love to talk. But in a sentence, when I think of mindfulness, I think it's noticing the little things when there's lots of big things happening in our life. Because mindfulness isn't something that we have to use just when we're stressed or feeling low, but it's something that we can use all of the time just to start to notice the things that are going around us. And that can often help us feel a little bit better, but also just feel grateful for the place that we're in as well. So hopefully the videos and the fun activities make it a bit more accessible to know what mindfulness is. And I'll do a little short presentation as well after those.
Amazing. Thank you. And thank you, Baxter, for making these videos. They're really, really great. I'm going to go ahead now and play the first one.
Hey, everybody. This is a little activity for the Mindfulness in May video that I'm recording with Tess for Alive for Kids. It's a beautiful morning here on my farm. I can hear my chickens. I can feel the nice coldness of the morning, and I can smell all the beautiful trees and flowers on my property. And so I'm feeling very mindful this morning without having to be a Zen master. Today, what I'm going to do is show you a little quick mindfulness activity that we might do in therapy with a client, but something you can do at home or in the classroom as a really fun activity to make something and be able to practice some mindfulness. So this activity is called Flubber soap. And the ingredients you'll need can be bought from your local supermarket or grocery store. So we have some corn flour, or in the US we call it corn starch. So if you see any instructions online, sometimes they say corn starch, but just a thing of corn flour. You want some children's bubble bath, because it has a nice like kind of smell to it, and also it usually comes in these big containers, and it's only like a couple bucks. So this will last you for heaps of different Flubber soap making activities. This one has like a kind of like a bubblegummy smell to it, so it's quite nice. You want some food coloring as option. I like this little pack just from Woolies, but it comes with a bunch of different colors, so I can choose the colors there that I want to use. And yeah, some measuring utensils and something to mix with just for the start bit. So the first thing we're going to do is get our wet ingredients. So I have here, 1/4 cup of the bubble bath. So I'm going to pop that in there, try and get as much in there as possible. While we're doing this, I'm rushing through it a bit so I can show the demonstration, but you can start to smell the nice smell of the bubble bath here. You can also see how it kind of slowly goes into the bottom of the pan there. I want to taste it. That's probably the one sense I wouldn't use for this, because I think it'd be quite a nasty taste. Then the next wet ingredient is going to be 3 teaspoons of just some cooking oil. Okay, so we're just going to pop that in there like that. Now that bit's really cool as well, because again, if you're watching it, it kind of like disperses on top of the soap, and it kind of runs away and starts creating some different colors. Now this is when I add the food coloring, just so we can mix in the food coloring before we put our dry ingredients in. So today I thought I might try a red, because I reckon that will show up on the camera nicely. So what I'm going to do is just pop 1, 2, 3. Again, taking your time with that, watching how it drops down, watching how the color changes as you put it in. You can slowly mix as well and see how the color starts to change. And this is a nice, beautiful red one, like some of the trees that I have out here, like my maple tree. So just noticing. Look at that. It's looking pretty good. Looks a bit like a red booger, but we'll try and make it look a bit better. Then I'm going to add my cornstarch or corn flour in. So I just add a little bit at a time, just so it's nice and easy to mix. And taking your time, as we're doing this, there's no rush. Okay? Mixing that in, and actually, ooh, that red's coming out nicely now. It's kind of like a light, almost like a kind of a pastel red color, which is really nice. So putting this in here. Now you can use measuring cups, like I'm using here today, just because I wanted to get the ratios as correct as possible for the video to show you it quickly. But the other thing you can do is just, if it seems like it's too slimy, you're going to put more corn flour in to dry it up. If you seem like it's too flaky and drying and falling apart, adding some more soap or some oil will help with that. So as you can see, it's kind of mixed up into this. I'm going to add the rest of the corn flour now. And this is a quick activity. It's also one that we're allowed to have a little bit of a mess. Okay, I have my clothes on before I go to work, so I'm being a little bit more cautious. But this stuff kind of, besides this when it's in its kind of raw form, everything else will just wash off with soap, which is really nice. So just keep adding that in. Okay. You want to get all these bits together so you can. Now I'm noticing that mine looks a bit sludgy, so that means that I need some more corn flour. So I'm just going to add a bit more corn flour here to the Flubber soap mixture. And now it's starting to crumble up, which is nice. I'll show you that in a second. Now you can use your hands for this as well. I'm just using a fork at the moment, but hands are absolutely fine. Still mixing it up. It's kind of turned into a little bit more of a ball, but I just think it's a bit drippy still. So again, we're going to add some more dry ingredient. I'm adding some more corn flour. Mixing that through. The lovely thing about this exercise again is that smell of the bubbles are coming through as well. So able to engage my senses around that. All right, now this is looking pretty good. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is start to use my hands to start to manipulate it. It's kind of like kneading when you knead bread, or maybe you've made slime before at home. It's a bit like that process, but I'm just going to mix it into, hopefully, a bit of a ball here. And yeah, this is coming out a really nice texture. So again, you know, those, you know, I just did the ingredients that I've been taught of how to make it, but you know, even then I needed a little bit more corn flour there, okay? And then we get something like this, which is really cool. So it's your own, very own Flubber soap. Now, Flubber soap can be used in different ways. We can pinch off a bit, put it in water, and it becomes like bubble soap, just soap for your hands. So you can wash your hands with it. And a really nice mindfulness process of that is, you know, washing it until all the bubbles kind of slowly pop and go away. The other thing is that this becomes very nice to kind of play with and fiddle with. So it can be a bit of a fiddle toy kind of thing. The last thing I use it for is called progressive muscle relaxation, which is when we squeeze something really, really tight and then let it go. I'll put up a little flyer for Tess to send out to everybody that walks you through that, but it can be really nice to do that progressive muscle relaxation with the hands, okay? And then you've got your very own Flubber soap. Okay, let me see if I can get it there to show you guys. And there it is, ready to go. So it's a bit hard, it's dry. Now put it in a little Tupperware container by your sink or wherever you want to keep it. The best thing about this is parents will be happy too, because if this does get on your carpet or on your floors, you can just wash it up with a bit of hot water. And if it gets a little bit stuck in there, just a little bit of vinegar will knock it out. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed our Flubber soap making activity. Have a great day.
Hi everyone, and we're back very quickly before we show another video that Baxter's made. But how good was that video that Baxter just whipped up this morning? You know, it looked like it was pretty cold where you were in Burnie, Baxter, at home. But you're amazing. Thank you so much for making those videos. Shall we play the next one?
Sounds good to me, Tess.
Okay, cool. All right, let's do this.
Okay, guys, so we did our Flubber soap. And now I want to show you another activity you can do with some pretty much at home items, or maybe you might have to pop down to Kmart and get a couple things. And this one is called a mindful jar. So before we made Flubber soap, whereas this one is more of a jar that we make to help us with slowing down our breathing. And it's just a nice reminder to slow down. So I'm going to run through this fairly quickly because it's quite easy to do. So I just have a jar of peanut butter that I've taken the label off here and cleaned up, and just put some lukewarm water in there. The first thing I want to do is choose a color. And today I'm going to choose blue because I think the blue will stand out nicely. And reminding ourselves when we're doing this process, we can take our time. I might be speeding it up for the video purpose, but you can take your time with it and make it mindful, you know, in itself. So what I'm going to do here is 5 drops of blue food color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you can see how it makes these cool, like they almost look like jellyfish to me. Little food coloring dropping down to the bottom, which I think is fantastic and super cool. And a really cool way to be mindful is to watch that until it floats to the bottom. But I'm going to hurry things along here. I've also just got some Elmer glue. Any kind of glue will work. Glitter glue, you know, as long as it's not going to muck up the water too much. So I use Elmer's glue. I just do a big squeeze of this stuff. The reason we're putting this in here is just to make the water slow down a little bit. Okay, you can see all of it going in there, and you can almost kind of see the blue reacting, which is kind of cool. Gonna get my trusty fork here, just give it a nice little stir. Okay, there's no method to my madness here, guys. It's just to mix in that glue a little bit. All done there. Now what we're gonna do is put some glitter in the mindful jar. And the way that I like to do it is I like to think about the different emotions that I have and what things, you know, relate to those emotions. So, for example, I might grab this beautiful pink here. And this beautiful pink actually reminds me of my cat's collar. My cat's name is Yuki, and Yuki has a beautiful purple collar. And Yuki makes me very happy. So I'm gonna put in some purple for Yuki making me happy. Just watching it go in there. Actually engage our hearing sense as well, because that's making a lot of cool noises. Let's think of another one here. One of the things that I love to do, especially in summer, is go fishing with my dad. So I'm going to put in a big glop for happiness, okay, for fishing with my dad. Putting a bunch in there. And let me think of another one. Sad. Sometimes I get sad when I don't get to see my brother because he lives a little bit far away from me. So when I think about him, I might get a little bit sad. So I'll put that in there for missing my brother when he's far away. Beautiful. Excited. It's my birthday next week. So I'm definitely going to do excited because I love presents, big or small. I like them. I like many, and I like lots of them. So we're going to put some gold flake in for excited. The last one I'm going to do is anger. I get angry when St. Kilda loses at the football, like they did against the Hawks recently in Launceston. That made me very angry. So I will pop that in there. Perfect. Okay, so you can actually, I can't quite show you guys, but you will start to kind of form a layer of beautiful glitters of all my different emotions in there. So what I'm going to do is mix those emotions up, and hopefully, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but certainly you'll be able to see it when you do yours, is you'll start to see all those emotions rushing around in there. And that's kind of what it's like, you know, when you're having a busy day or stuff gets hard, is your emotions just go crazy, whether the emotions like happiness or excitement or sadness and anger, they all kind of run around. And what we're trying to do here is create something to help us slow down and be more mindful. Pro tip for the parents and the teachers out there, it's not a bad idea to just give this a little wipe where the ring will suction in. So just give that a wipe here. Then we're going to get somebody who's super strong to tighten that lid as tight as we can. So give that a good tighten. I might use my little rag to help me along the way here. It's a bit cold this morning. Oh, there we go. Perfect. And we made a glitter jar. Now, hopefully with the light, if I can position it with the light there, you'll see, hopefully, that glitter running around. Just like that. So the exercise I do with this, and I still do this, I have one of these on my desk at work, is I'll give it a good shake. Shake, 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 shake. Get that glitter rolling around. And then what I'm going to do is breathe with the count of 4. So I'm going to breathe in for 4. I'm going to hold it for 4. And I'm going to breathe out for 4. Again, I'm going to breathe in for 4. Hold it, and breathe out for 4. And as I do that, all the glitter is flowing down. I'm just focusing on it falling up and down. Now the glitter is slowed down and almost all of it's down to the bottom. So that's the glitter jar activity. Hope you guys have had a fun time being a little bit creative with me this morning. I look forward to seeing you guys in the lecture.
Hi again, everybody. I feel so relaxed just watching that, and I haven't even, been doing it myself this whole time. I just wanted to quickly show you this mind jar that my colleague Sachi made after Children's University did a workshop with at Baxter recently. A few people in our team had their own go at making these glitter jars. And as you can see, it's just like such a beautiful thing to have on your desk and to eventually watch all the glitter pieces fall to the ground. Baxter, would you like to start the PowerPoint?
Yeah, sounds good. Let's see if I can get this going.
Alrighty, so St. Anthony's, please start sending in questions. We've got about 8 minutes left. Baxter's kind of just going to present now and summarize, but over to you, Baxter, and look forward to reading your questions from St. Anthony's.
All right, guys. So just, thank you for watching my videos. Again, these are just really nice ways to interact with mindfulness, which hopefully I can define for you guys a little bit here. Let's see if I can go to the next slide. Here we go. So I just wanted to let you guys know. So some of you might have not heard of what a psychologist does or what we are as psychologists, but I have this nice photo here of the guy talking with this speech bubble with some balls of yarn that are being untangled from somebody who's having a tough time. I think it's a really nice depiction of what we do as psychologists. We're not doctors and we don't deal with medicines or needles or anything like that. But what we do is help navigate difficult situations for kids, adults, grandparents, parents that are having a hard time. And it can be really useful. And you might remember a time where you've talked to somebody, whether that even is just a friend or somebody that you trust, like a teacher, and you feel a little bit better after having that conversation. So that's in a nutshell what psychologists do. One of the strategies we use is mindfulness. Now, I think some people, when we think of mindfulness, we think about people sitting on the top of a mountain, meditating very deeply. And, look, some people are able to do that, and that is a fantastic skill to have. But for me, I have a really active lifestyle, very busy with my own child at home. And I find that I need really mindfulness activities that are things that are in the moment that I can do when I need to do them. So mindfulness I really like the depiction here of mindfulness rather than the Zen master sitting on the mountain, is that if we see this, and I have two dogs, Boof and Hammy. So Boof and Hammy are my dog in this photo, and then myself, is that, us as humans, sometimes we have lots of worries going around in our head, whether that's work or, things happening with friendship groups or assignments being due for work. And, when we think about all those things, we can start to become distressed. Kind of like this photo here of the person, having a little tear and kind of in a storm. We feel that distress. But the dog is very much just focused on what's happening in the present moment. And so this little cartoon, and my head's blocking the other side, so I'll move out of the way, but it says, mind full. So the mind is full like a cup, rather than mindful. And mindful is just noticing what is happening, noticing one thing, okay? And that can be really important when we feel like our mind is full of things. These are the activities that I do that are mindful in everyday life. So I love having a mindful shower. So with mindfulness, it can be really useful to engage your senses. That's why in the video, I talk about the things I can see, the things I can hear, the smell. And, I didn't use taste because I think both of those things, including the glitter jar, might taste not so right. But I'm using my senses to pick up one thing in the moment. So in a shower, I might notice the change in temperature. I might notice the sound of the water hitting the floor. I might notice the steam going around the room. My animals, I have lots of animals on the farm. And so one of the things I like to do is be mindful with my animals. So whether that's smelling their fur or, giving them a nice slow pat and feeling the different textures, whether that is just watching them play, just only focusing on them playing and having a lot of fun out in the paddocks. Gardening is another one, going out there and gardening, using the soil and really focusing in on, doing stuff outside can be really good for mindfulness. And we know from the psychologists out there that actually outdoor activities often can be very mindful in themselves. And so we don't even have to very much try to engage in those things. Breathing is really recommended. So breathing like in the mindfulness jar, focusing in on our breath is an important factor. Music, I love music. So listening to music is a really good idea as well. And then I have these people here just walking as well. So just focusing on putting one foot in front of the other and feeling all the different feelings in your feet or the breeze on your face are all different ways we can be mindful. So that is noticing. Two quick activities. I do this one a lot. This is the 5 things grounding activity. So this is a mindful moment where we might have a lot going on. I might be in a work meeting where I'm getting a lot of information and I just need to focus in. And so this is one way I can do it and nobody has any idea that I'm doing it. So that's just noticing 5 things I can see, 4 things I can touch. And when I'm in a meeting, that might be the feeling of my shoes. That might be the feeling of the chair. It might be the feeling of my shirt on my shoulders. There's lots of different things I can feel without actually having to pick up. 3 things I can hear. This is the best one for me because I find this one's really hard sometimes, is to really focus in and hear 3 things. Like I can hear my computer fan. I can hear some of my colleagues talking at lunch outside of my office here. And then, that last one, I can hear a car. So that one kind of takes a lot of your attention. The 2 things you can smell and the 1 thing you can taste. In that exercise, I did the breathing, and it can be hard to remember how to breathe and to do the 4 counts. So I often use my hand. So this is another exercise where you can breathe in for 4 counts as you go up, hold it for 4 counts, and then out as you go down. You can kind of go through your whole hand. And I tend to feel better once I've done both of my hands, because it seems that amount of breathing and that amount of focus on something helps me out. There's our Flubber soap and our mindfulness jars there from today. So these activities are mindful in the way that we make them, but then we can also use them as mindful tools. So for the jar, doing the breathing exercise, or even just watching the glitter go down can be quite nice. And for the Flubber soap activity, that washing of the hands mindfully works. The smelling of it, because it smells nice. Looking at it and drawing in it, because it's kind of like slime in a way. You can kind of play with it. And then progressive muscle relaxation as well, which I'm going to shoot a little flyer for you guys to have about how to do that. So just reminding ourselves that sometimes the world is like this. We have all these things, these competing needs or things happening in our life that are really hard. Exam stress, worry, job problems, friendship issues, peer pressure, and it can feel very overwhelming. And mindfulness and therapy are the ways that sometimes we can navigate some of those things. So I'll throw it back to Tess now, and we might have some questions.
Yeah, we do have lots of questions, Baxter. Some of the students at St. Anthony's have sent through questions and they're really good. But do you have a couple of extra minutes? Are you okay if we go over time a little bit, Baxter?
Absolutely. I have another 30 minutes, so as much as you need.
Oh, well, we won't take up 30 minutes. But if we could get through the questions from St. Anthony's, that would be amazing.
Of course.
Okay, great. So Will has asked how long you've been working in the area of mindfulness, and Rhythms asked what inspired you to pursue psychology.
Okay. It's a great question. I think I discovered mindfulness for the first time when I was in high school, and they were preparing us for our big high school exams in year 12. And somebody came and taught mindfulness, and I found it really hard to engage with because I had to close my eyes and then, kind of walk through what they call guided mindfulness, And for me, I found that difficult. But then I got reintroduced to it when I was in my master's training to become a psychologist. And somebody taught me that you didn't have to be a Zen master, that in fact, you could just do everyday stuff and focus in more. And I found that much more engaging. So I guess since then, it's been 12 years, and I've done it probably every day of my life since then. I've done at least, 30 seconds of mindfulness. Or if I have a lot of time on my hand, maybe I'm on the holiday or I'm out on the boat with my dad, or fishing, just sitting there for, an hour, just being mindful and noticing the stuff around me. So for about 12 years now and, trying to use it every day. What a great question.
Amazing. And how about Rhythm's question around what inspired you to pursue psychology?
Yeah, great question. I think for me, it was meeting a psychologist at my school who was doing some testing about things before we went into exams, about things that might help us with engaging with exams. So like, for example, sometimes I had a little bit of trouble reading. So I had to go see a psychologist and they helped me with some strategies around reading. And when I got to year 12, I asked my mom, I was like, oh, who was that lady that that did that assessment on me, like what was her job? And my mom said it was a psychologist, and she showed me the report. And, and then I was like, wow, I want to apply at university and see if I can do that. And then, through my studies, I've just loved talking, as you can tell. And I think that, it is a talk-based profession. And, so definitely utilizing my strengths. And also, I just love hanging out. I work mostly with kids and do fun activities just like we've done today. So yeah, it's kept me in there for the long haul.
Amazing. There's a few more questions here. So I'm not sure what the student's name was. Feel free to pop it in, Jordan. It's a really interesting question. What are the most common emotions that you encounter as a psychologist?
That's such a good question. Wow, that's very insightful. So because we often see people when they're not doing so well, I would say it's when people feel sad, worried, or angry. I would say they're the main ones because I think that those are the ones that we struggle with the most of knowing what to do with, because we're really good at accepting when people feel happy and excited. We're really good at being able to talk about those things. But sometimes when we feel angry, sad, or worried, we worry about telling people these things in public, and we worry about knowing what to do. And it can be quite scary. So psychology often creates what we call confidential space. So that is a space where people aren't allowed to know what we talk about in session between myself and my client, say, except for in some extreme reasons. But then it creates this space where they're allowed to say whatever they want without judgment and work through some of those things. So it's like, oh, I feel, angry, so angry that I want to break my brother's TV when he plays more Xbox than me. And he would be worried to tell his parents that, perhaps, maybe because he doesn't want to come across as an angry kid or doesn't want to get in trouble. But with his psychologist, they might be able to work through that, or a social worker, or there's tons of different people that do this job as well with, okay, well, instead of doing that, I wonder if we could go outside and chop some wood. I wonder if we could go, rip up something that's a piece of paper that doesn't matter. How can we get that emotion out without pushing it down or, pretending like it's not there? So I think I would say anger, worry, and sadness.
Amazing. And that question was from Stella.
Thank you, Stella.
Yes,
that's great.
Jordan's just let us know. There's one more question here from St. Anthony's. It's from Zach. What do you find is the most effective mindfulness activity?
Okay, well, this is such a good question, Zach, because I actually got asked this by one of my master's students the other day and said, like, what's the thing that you utilize? And I have two big dogs. One is a German Shepherd and the other is a hound. And they're both rescue dogs and they live on a farm. So they really smell bad. But to me, they smell really good. And so I actually just lie on the ground and let them kind of play with me on the ground a little bit, like, we roll around and we play with a toy. And what I'm getting out of there is lots of sounds of them. I can't really focus on anything else. It's just their sounds. I get the smell of them as well. I also get the touch, like different feelings of their fur, sometimes even their slobbers everywhere. Like, it's lots of different things. And for me, because I love my dogs, that makes me feel safe. So maybe I've come out of an unsafe environment or something that's made me feel stressed. And then I'm coming into an environment which I love, which is playing with my dogs. But that's a fantastic question, Zach. I wonder what yours would be. And I'm sure we all have slightly different ones.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Baxter. I've got a comment here from Georgia, who's the Children's University Coordinator, who's been watching. She said, I love these activities, Baxter. Thanks so much for sharing. Your explanation about how psychologists help to unravel the tangle in your brain is a wonderful description. Yes, I totally agree with Georgia. It's been really, really lovely to meet you over these past couple of weeks. And it's been really lovely to watch the videos and learn a bit about, how you can just do mindfulness in little bits through the day. You don't have to set aside like an hour to go and just meditate, silently. You can just take a moment to just smell things around you or just stop and breathe. And I'm definitely going to have to try to make my own mindfulness jar like my colleagues. But thank you.
No, thank you for your time. And I hope everybody can find a mindful moment in their week.
Definitely. Yes. Still a few more days left now in May. So St. Anthony's, if you do decide to make the mindfulness jar or the Flubber soap, and we'll have the recording of this available on our website probably tomorrow, so you can always watch it back. Yeah, feel free to send us some photos. Did you want to do a shout out to the UTAS psychology clinic as well, Baxter, and talk about who can access that service and if it's free?
Yeah, absolutely. So our service is running out of the Newnham campus, so in Launceston and in Hobart, but we also do telehealth, so we can Zoom in just like Tess and I are doing now and have private sessions with people. So it's for any age range, so from young people all the way up to older people, and they get time with one of our provisional psychologists who are training psychologists under one of the experienced psychologists such as myself supervising them. And we can do therapy, talk about things that are difficult or really tricky, as well as assessment. So if somebody's having difficulty with their school learning or wondering if they might have a diagnosis, we certainly can do that. The best way to do it is you can refer yourself. You don't need to go to a GP. Whether just letting your parents know about it and just to type in the University of Tasmania Psychology Clinic. And do a referral. Teachers can refer students with their consent, to our service as well. Generally, the sessions are at a very low cost, or if the family have a healthcare card, or there's some other stipulations as well, we can offer those services for free, which is fantastic.
Awesome. Thanks. I just thought we should definitely add that in before we finish up.
Absolutely.
Well,
Perfect.
I'm going to wrap it up now. Thank you so much once again, Baxter. Thanks for getting up so early this morning and seizing the day and making those videos. And it'll be great to have the recording of that available pretty much forever now for any young person around, Tasmania or around Australia to watch. We'll be back next month on the 17th of May with an episode for World Albatross Day. So Heidi Orman, who's also from University of Tasmania, who has written a book called Garbage Guts, will be coming on to talk about plastic and marine life and sometimes how birds can ingest plastic and what can be done about it. So maybe we'll see you next month, St. Anthony's. And for anyone else watching the recording, we will see you soon. See you later, guys. Bye.
Bye.